Why is the jury laughing?
Zero chance of winning the game.
Supposed to talk glamour to you.
My grandmother's sitting home watching Jerry Springer.
Lee, is there any way I could have your jacket?
Welcome back to Survivor Breakfast. We're talking Survivor Season 44, Episode 7. Tonight, we had a very exciting episode. First episode fully post-merge. We had a little bit of a twist in today's episode, even two twists. And unfortunately, we had Matt going home, sadly. Boys, high level, give me your thoughts on this week's episode. Toast, I'll throw it to you first.
I mean, I thought it was an interesting episode. First time we got this weird breakdown during a challenge where the teams were split up. That's nothing new, but what was new was, I guess, the scheme in which the last person left standing, regardless of the team that they're on, wins immunity for their entire team, versus the last person left on any individual team is guaranteed immunity, but the last person on the team that loses overall has immunity and goes to tribal, and then the other half, who all have immunity, have no say in the vote. Kind of a complicated scheme, to be honest with you. I was a little confused at first. I needed to hear it play out a couple times. There was a lot of maneuverability. If people were quick on their toes, they could have come up with some ways to maybe get around losing their number one ally. But, tricky stuff. You got to be ready to make decisions on the fly, And
it was an adaptation of the two tribal council episode that we've seen the last 3 seasons.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's nothing new like that, but it's splitting the tribe in two is not new like that.
They just didn't do 2 tribals in one episode this season. They did it the last 3 seasons. I like the switch up. It's more organic, instilled, production. Yeah, I don't know what the right word is, but it's production instilling something into the game that then allows organic. Phrase it better.
Sure.
Then allows organic social play to really direct the episode. Now, it's funny because they definitely put in that one clip with Brandon versus Matt saying, "Oh, sometimes the best winners, they aren't the best survivors. I mean, the winners aren't the best survivors." And Brandon's like, "You know what? In every situation, you can try to get yourself out of." And that was, I think, purposely put in there just to, have some backdrop for any flack that people might be saying after this episode. I mean, are you guys fans of this happening this way? I liked it.
Oh, the split, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't dislike it at all. I think it's an interesting thing to do. I think it encourages it incentivizes a certain kind of gameplay, which I don't dislike. It seems like to me it's just incentivizing, like they even mentioned in the episode, like who has the widest net of allies, because you can get put on a tribe or a split where your 3 or 2 or 1 closest person that you work with is stuck on the other side and can't help you out.
But
even though that didn't really come into play with Matt and Jam Jam, because Matt lost all his allies and Jam Jam just didn't have a lot in the first place. But yeah, I don't know.
No, but I mean, in this case, it's better if you only have one ally on the other side, because I mean, I think Frannie missed an opportunity. I'd rather just talk about it right now. I think that Frannie should have stepped down once she had immunity. I don't see.
I think she wasn't thinking about it. I think she was too caught up in the moment of it.
I guess so. But like, you have to pretend like when we're watching it, we see the tribe get divided, and we're like, okay, like we'll have time to figure out the social dynamics of both groups and how this might work. We'll see how they go at the beach. These people are living in it, right? Frannie should look over and say, there's 3 Ratu on that side. There's Jam Jam, and then there's Matt. And Matt is my number one ally, potentially my lover.
But Frannie said herself that when she was trying to work with Heidi to figure out, which we'll dissect that whole thing too, she's like, Brandon's absolutely going to vote with Matt. Like, she was dead ass said that that's the way she thought.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
She couldn't be more wrong about it, but
yeah, she
really did think that.
Yeah, so maybe that gives some insight into why she was less keen on doing that, but in reality, I think that it's worth. I mean, it really is no risk because
No,
they
it's
could have.
risk.
You're
It's risk. You're
safe.
you're pissing off 5 people.
Yeah, but they
Not really.
dude. But you
Yes, you are. If you definitely just step down for
You
your
don't have
one
to,
lover,
but you don't have
look,
to step
I
down.
don't.
Like,
No. I think
obviously.
you make it look like you
Yeah,
did make it because Kale. I think. Look, obviously they're not going to be happy, right? Agreed.
yeah, but
But she came back from a 4-1 like underdog, and she made it to the last person, and then you fall. Like people aren't going to be like, oh, like you threw this.
no,
Like
not at all.
you tried. Like it's so like obvious that you tried hard, even if you like ended up falling at the end. I think you would have.
And they could have just taken
fine.
out Kane. They were all together on that
Yeah, they
on
would've been
that
fine.
team.
that's
Or
not
even they would've even taken out
that's not what
Danny.
I'm worried about. Is that like if there's any indication, right, that she threw that, which all eyes
There-
are on her, so she
it's
can't
so
like she
easy
can't
to not-
throw the fucking thing. She
Dude,
can't
the
twist
ball
her
just
arms.
has to. The ball just has to roll
I
off.
know, dude, but like
What are you talking about? She outlasted 4 people.
I think it would have
like
been
Cindy
easy to
said.
fake, but I hear what you're saying.
I
Kale.
don't,
It's
I
so
don't,
easy to
I
hint
don't,
at
I
it.
don't think it does, and I really think the narrative can be spun that she threw it for Matt's sake, and then it's then just the target's on them anyways because of their lover situation.
Look,
I don't-
This is kind of a contrived. Like I don't know if
It's
I
not a
believe-
contrived. It's
Si-
really not a contrived.
But Kale, she could have just dropped naturally, like every other person did.
But my point being is that when she's already at the 4, their entire eyes are on, right? And she's steady as a rock.
Doesn't matter at all. I mean, that
Yes,
doesn't
it
matter.
do- it
No, but she
does
had a lot of-
matter.
Okay, but she had a lot. The ball was rolling around a lot.
Yeah, the ball was already rolling.
It would have been. It would have been.
This is
fine.
not like
But I
a.
hear
This
what you're
is not
saying, Kale.
hard to fake.
Kale, I hear what
I
you're saying.
disagree.
That I hear what you're saying. That if there is even a smidge of people thinking that Franny threw at the end, that would obviously be very bad. I don't think it would be hard for it to fall. But regardless, look, this is a bad episode for Franny. I mean, she
Yeah,
just
it's
lost
horrible.
the
No,
number one
to be
out.
honest with you, it's not. See,
I
this
mean-
is where you're all wrong. We've seen Blood vs. Water literally multiple times.
Yeah, but yeah.
When you're
but it-
getting dragged down by your significant other, your teammate, your tag team, your partner, it's a problem.
yeah, but
Franny is in a much better position now.
But wait, we've also seen Rob and Amber take everybody out and go to the end, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, but that
split a
w-
check
but
for $1
that-
million.
That's
So-
a
but-
whole
but-
different scenario and a
well,
whole
it-
different grouping of
It
people.
it is different in the sense that they were a couple amongst complete strangers. Well, they knew each other by then because it was All Stars, but it's different because they were 2 in a sea of a bunch of 1s. In Blood versus Water, there were some people that were 2 and there's some people that were 1. And the people that were 1s wanted to get rid of the 2s, and then they ended up winning. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
but
how it
at the
played
end
out.
of the game, there
But-
was a lot more 1s than there were 2s.
Exactly, and I
Yeah.
agree.
So if you're able to maneuver amongst the ones,
in both seasons,
you never did the final 2 in Blood vs. Water, the final coupling, make it anywhere.
No, never. No,
Exactly.
but okay, but you're saying exactly that's a different circumstance where everyone comes with a pair of 2. This is a circumstance in which there is one pair of 2 against a bunch of 1s.
I
then
understand that.
And we've seen that work.
We've said for what do you we but
We've
you
seen
say
that
you're say-
happen.
no, but that's you're
What do you
talking
mean
about
no? What do
Boston.
you mean
You're talking
no?
about Boston Rob and Amber.
Yeah.
Boston Rob, one of the best players of all time. Are you
Yeah.
out here saying that Franny's the best player of all time?
If this is where you're getting what I'm saying, if that's where you're landing, then there's no reason to have the.
I don't understand. You're saying that there's evidence of it happening before because Boston Rob did it.
I'm
I
just
think
saying that
that's
you're
crazy
bringing up-
to extrapolate that Franny is like Boston Rob.
I'm not saying she's like Boston Rob at all. I'm just saying that it could be a benefit to have 2 votes in your pocket.
But
It's not-
everybody didn't like it. And it's not something that was going to be proven to be beneficial for her. Now
All right,
she's
so,
free.
So if you think long term she's free, that's fine.
Yes.
But I think in this instance it's a little early to be solo when you have someone who
But you're
you
not
have.
solo now. Now we already see in the pre-clip that Danny wants to work with her. And Danny's
So-
probably a better player to be working with anyways.
So is your argument, which is totally fair, is your argument that Franny would have liked to save Maddie, but it's actually better for her not to have Maddie?
Correct.
Because
She
I think
clearly
she wa-
she was crying,
was
bawling her
upset.
eyes out. Yeah,
She
of
was
course.
upset. It's not what she wanted,
course.
but it's good for her. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's like
1
eating
million
Brussels
percent.
sprouts. That's what it
100%.
is.
100%. You're a
All right.
dentist.
I
You know.
I like Brussels sprouts.
You're a dentist.
I don't like Brussels sprouts.
Wow.
You just haven't
Crispy.
had good-
Crispy with a
yeah,
little
getting
bit of
some
bacon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Delicious. Yeah, I mean, I
Jesus.
think I think it remains to be seen. I think we won't actually ever know the answer because we won't have seen the game with them together the whole time and with just Franny by herself. I think there are pros and I think there are cons to
Yeah,
Matt
fair.
going
That's
home.
fine.
I think, like, I agree with both of you. I think it takes a lot of threat off of Franny, but it is kind of nice to just have an auto
Yeah,
vote with you.
a pawn.
That's
You're
that's
bringing along
not.
a pawn.
We talked about from episode 1 that this was going
It's
to
a
be a
queen and a
problem.
pawn.
It also let's be clear, would have been they also probably thought that they were in a way better scenario than they actually were because not until this episode did Matt realize that his idol was fake.
Talk about that too. Another problem in production. But
Yeah, but well,
But he should have had his bag.
he should have had his. You got to
He
bring
should have
your
at least
bag
had
to,
his shot in
to
the dark.
challenges.
wait,
I
wait,
feel like
what?
I've never seen somebody not bring a bag to a challenge. How did he not bring his bag?
No,
Well,
'cause
I mean, you don't think that
not,
you're going
not
to
once
another
did this
beach?
type of scenario kind of
Yeah.
happen.
No, I know, but I just feel like I always see people bring their bag to challenges. I'm like, it just seems like such a common thing to be doing. But
I'm not sure.
I think it's kind of I mean I think it's a little shady that he didn't have the opportunity to get his bag because I think that the shot
a
in the
little
dark,
ripped.
but the
yeah,
shot
not
in
being
the-
able to play your shot in the dark is
that's
BS.
what I'm saying. It's not about like playing the fake idol or like like showing
Yeah,
everyone
whatever you
that-
want to do.
It's I think it's like I feel like your shot in the dark is your right. Like and it's
Yeah,
like,
why did
it shouldn't matter.
No,
that you
I
physically have it.
agree with that too. I didn't even know they had to carry that as a physical ball in their hand.
Yeah, I don't think like I don't know. I don't like that at all. I feel like if the producers tell me I have a shot in the dark to play at some point in the season, then I should be able to play.
It shouldn't be contingent on me having it in my person at all times.
Having the little
Yeah, no.
ball.
That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I'm
to me.
saying. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Little-
dumb.
Yeah, because like
Which I
the
don't even
reason
know
we
why.
didn't-
Why is it a ball thing, anyways?
It's so dumb. It's
It's a
no,
dice.
it's like
Whatever.
a die.
It,
it's a
is it?
die
But they
that-
just put it in a fucking
But
urn.
it's stupid because
don't
it's
they?
a 1 in 6 chance. And instead of rolling the dice, which is a 1 in 6 chance,
yeah.
they have you put it in a bag and
Yeah,
then
you've
pull
never
it
No,
heard
in
that.
an
It's
urn
just-
that into an abyss.
it's
and
stupid. It makes me so mad that they gave them a die and they don't even roll the die. But yeah, no, I think that's because the reason you have to bring a physical idol to tribal is because otherwise, like Jeff might have no proof whether or not you actually did find an idol if you didn't like, I don't know. Obviously the producers are going to see it, the cameramen are going to see it, but like, you know what I mean? Like you need proof that you had the thing, but everybody knows that everybody has a shot in the dark.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
like,
like,
I think it's like a right. Like
Yeah, I
you're
think that was
afforded
weird.
one shot in the dark. And
yeah, I'm interested to see if they talk about it on the official Survivor
he had firmly
podcast at all.
used it. Did you feel like he got the vibe that it was definitely him?
who?
Matt, would Matt have used that shot in the dark?
I
he would
think
have.
Matt definitely would have used
By the
shot
time
in
he
the
was
dark.
Yeah, then
balling out,
then it puts an exclamation point on what you guys are talking about. It's a real problem that he.
I think he should have been allowed to play that shot in the dark. I don't.
Well,
know if they would've
especially
done that.
if you're gonna put, if you're gonna introduce this type of situation where there's gonna be an inorganic majority because they're just made and swapped into that sense, then
Yeah.
you can't have someone fucked by a dice in a bag, and it's a
Yeah,
bunch
I
of
mean,
I bet you the producers just did it because they wanted the more drama of like, oh, is Franny gonna bring his bag? Is all this stuff? But like, I don't like that. He definitely.
Well,
should've
actually,
been
from
They
a
should-
production
they should
production
have.
standpoint, I actually think that the episode was edited fantastically. I had no idea. I don't know about you guys. I had no idea.
I thought it was going to be him. To be honest. With
I
you.
from the way, yeah, but they gave Jam
when
Jam enough.
when they
No, they
made
did.
Lauren vote for Jam Jam, I was like, oh, it's Jam Jam.
Really,
Because
No, I
because
didn't know if that locked it in, but
it didn't.
I thought that locked it in because I was thinking that Brandon and Jamie is her name.
Yeah, they still get
Uh,
to decide.
they gave
know,
a good
but-
they gave a good edit to Jamie saying I got no allegiance to Jam Jam. So
Yeah, but if
it's-
they vote for Matt, there is a chance that there's a tie, which they still win anyways. But like, why even deal with that?
But the three of them are on the same page.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
saying
but if Lauren has to go Jam Jam,
my point
No, I want to hear this out, Kale. Lauren has
If-
to go Jam.
if
Jam.
he's
Lauren
thinking
has to
Jam
go-
Jam and Matt voting together is what he's saying.
yeah. If
Yeah,
Jam Jam, but I'm saying like,
Which was
if-
never a realistic thing.
Yeah.
No,
but
I don't.
it-
I don't
it
think
was a
so.
good try by Jam Jam.
But I agree. I agree.
No, but I think it was just a conversation had, which was reinstilled Heidi saying, they might vote together, which again, none of the math worked out there. So it was, but I started believing it because the edit started pushing it out there. So I was like, wait a second.
There's a little bit of math there. I don't know. Are we done with this part? Because there's some math to be talked about potentially.
I don't think it's possible for them to win that vote.
No, they'll
even
just
with
at the
tight-
revote they lose. The
No,
revote,
but
They always lose the revote.
No,
Yeah.
but wait. Hear this out. So if it's not an automatic loss, it's a potential rock scenario, right? Because if Heidi says, okay, we're gonna take Lauren's vote, right? Of which Lauren has 2. We know that Lauren could use her second vote. There's 6 total possible votes that are out there.
Yes.
If they go, okay, Lauren, vote for Jamie, right? And somehow get Jam and Matt to vote for Jamie, then we have Lauren, Jamie, and Brandon voting for one of the 2, Matt or Jam. Now,
what are you
it's
talking
tied
about?
there.
How would they get him somehow to vote for Jamie?
Well, I think
No,
if
no,
They
they
can't
tell-
talk to him.
No,
but-
because if
but
Heidi stood up
it'll-
and said, "Lauren, you're voting for Jamie," then
Yes.
Jam and Matt would immediately be like, "Oh, this is our chance.
We benefit. We both
we
benefit.
both vote for."
Wait,
Jamie."
Kale, before shutting it down, let me just flesh it out because I know you're shaking your head already, but this happens sometimes.
There's no
Look, you're
chance
doing
in
it.
hell.
You're
There's
doing
no
it.
chance
Wait,
in hell.
let me
There's no
let
You
me
chance
don't
in
think
hell.
Matt and Jam would pick that up?
No.
If she said
Dude,
you have to vote for
dude.
Jamie, that's so obvious.
Yeah, that's so-
What do you
wait.
mean?
No, it's
Kale.
not. What do you mean it's obvious? None
Kale.
of those people that are
Kale.
actually voting would have discussed this.
Kale,
it's
you're
not
poo-poo-
obvious.
Wait, you're poo-pooing something before it's fully fleshed out. Do you mind just holding your poo-poo for now?
I'm just saying
Kale,
you're
Kale, I'm
holding
just
an
saying-
assumption. You're holding an assumption
That's
that makes no
fine.
sense. But go ahead.
It doesn't make
That's
no sense.
crazy
because-
that you think that makes
Wait,
no sense.
it doesn't make no sense because they both actually benefit from that because they realize if they both voted, it doesn't take that much of a logical jump for them to be like, there's already a vote on Jamie. We could both vote for Jamie. Now there's 3 votes on Jamie. The other 3 go to either Jam or Maddie. They don't know, but they both have the least to lose in this scenario. So now there's a revote. If they all stick together, right, then there's going to be 2 votes for either Maddie or Jam and 2 votes for Jamie. Now, both of those 2 people, if they can't come to an agreement, are tied. They're both immune. Brandon's
Yeah,
immune.
because it comes
And now
to
we're drawing
2.
rocks between one of Jam or Maddie and then Lauren and there's 5 of them.
No, but dude, on the revote,
Yeah,
there would
there's
have been
5
a
of
live
them.
tribal, and either Matt or Jam would have flipped to get rid of the other person.
No, then it would
so
be
you
a
didn't have to
50
draw rocks.
it would be a 50-50 rock draw between Lauren and whichever one was not voted
exactly
for
what
originally.
exactly what Sim is saying.
No, but okay, but Kale,
would do it.
I want to very quickly
50-50.
say, if you were sitting in a tribal, Kale, and
Yeah,
you
I agree.
knew
We could
that
walk this
that
out.
it's between you and one other person,
Mhm.
and then Heidi stands up and says, "We're gonna force the majority that you're against to vote for themselves." You're telling me it wouldn't?
No.
cross your
You're
mind to
you're gonna
say-
force one of the 3 to use one of their votes, and the girl has 2 votes. So they're all still on the same page, and they're still
Yeah,
gonna
that's the-
vote in the way
that's-
they're voting.
It's the only thing that gives you an out.
I'm not gonna go out on a limb and vote for somebody else when the still the 2 names that were brought up are me and the other person. Not doing it. It's
That's
crazy.
Dude,
It's
that's
crazy.
That's like your own.
Okay.
That gives you.
You have blind faith unless me and the guy are talking right now. Unless Jam and
Ja-
Matt
Ja-
then start talking, but
Which
it
they
becomes a
could do.
shit show.
Which they
But
probably should. If in
Jam
that
Jam
scenario,
and
they
Matt,
probably
Jam
would.
and Matt, we also have to realize are not actually against one another in this scenario. Like they're just like they're the only
Anybody
2
but me.
options, so they have to vote for one another. But if the people who have to vote for one another without any gameplay around it, they just have to survive. Those 2 people are the most likely to be like, okay, well, we can both do this. They're not like enemies, you know.
Yeah,
They're
but
they're
what you're
enemies
also
by
not- what you're al-
circumstance.
the other point that Sim just brought up is that at the revote, they're just that with that same logic, they're just gonna
Sure.
vote for whoever got the names on them and just flip that way.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then it's a 50-50 between Lauren and either Jam or Maddie. In this case, it would be Maddie. In this case,
say
it would
that
be
again?
Jam. In this case, it would be Jam. Because the
No,
3
but
votes.
I still don't want my name to be the one that they chose. So I still want to use my
Yeah,
vote
but if
towards
you're
the
the one
other
that
guy.
they chose, Kale, they were choosing you regardless. So now at least this gives you a chance of
But
getting
you're
out of it
you're
with
you're
rocks.
but
Whereas
that's
before
not-
you're just out.
Yes.
yeah,
yes.
but that's my point. If they're not having a conversation, which they didn't have, right? They didn't have
Yeah,
a
but they
conversation.
didn't have a conversation because this didn't come up. This is a
Yeah,
hypothetical.
exactly.
It didn't
What do you-
exist.
Heidi
I-
didn't-
what do you
Heidi
mean?
didn't
They didn't
tell
have a
Lauren to vote.
conversation when they told Lauren to switch the vote. That's what I'm talking about.
Because once that happened, it's
Heidi
over.
told-
My point is that you're asking blind faith for me to trust Matt, if I'm Jam Jam or I'm Matt to trust Jam Jam, either way,
Yeah, vice
if
versa.
Heidi had said, Lauren, you have to vote for Jamie, there would
Yeah.
have been a live tribal.
Correct.
No question.
Yes, 100%.
No question. There would have been a live
Simi,
tribal.
I 100% agree.
the other
think
three
there
wouldn't
would-
have
are
to
you
have a
telling me
live
you think-
tribal.
You think there wouldn't have been a live tribal if Heidi
I
said,
don't
Lauren,
I
you have
don't
to vote for
even
Jamie?
even if they were, I'm still not believing the Jamie fucking side. That I'm voting for Matt or Jam Jam. I'm still voting that way. I'm not trusting that
I
the
do,
Jamie just
but
flushes
then
out that way.
you're leaving your survival to a coin flip anyways. So
Anyway.
you might as well take the
No,
chance.
Not
to
if
go to
that's
rocks.
not a coin
Yes,
flip. It's whatever
agreed.
the vibe was that
Simi,
you got
Simi,
going
you and
into
I
it.
are 100% right. You're 100% right. You're either automatically
no. You
guaranteeing
got-
your
you- hell
wait,
no.
You're
Hell
either
no.
automatically guaranteeing your safety or you're just deferring
You're
the
trusting
50-50
How you
down the road.
automatically guaranteeing your safety?
Because if you go to rocks, the
You're not
person who-
automatically guaranteeing anything. It doesn't get to rocks. It never gets to rocks.
Kale,
It
Kale,
gets
if you
to-
would
it can
just
get to rocks.
listen,
It's
if you-
never
if-
getting
Kale,
to rocks.
You just don't hear the whole thing out before you disagree. I'm
It's
welcoming
never
your
getting to
disagreement.
rocks.
How would it
Why?
not get to rocks, Kale? Explain.
Why?
Because whoever the name was, they're not going to let it get to rocks, and they're just going to flip to the other name.
No. Because in this instance, you're not listening to the
You're
bigger
saying
picture.
3 votes Jamie, 3 votes
Matt.
Yes,
Yeah, Matt.
correct.
Yeah. Good.
So Matt and Jamie can't vote.
Correct.
Yes.
So you're saying the vote that's still Jamie, we don't even know what the rules are with that. I think it would still have to stay Jamie.
It would.
No,
You
no,
don't know
wait,
if that's
Toast, you
true
are
or
wrong.
not.
It
You're
is
wrong.
the
You don't
rule.
know if it's
No,
true.
no,
It is
Kale's
the rule.
right. Kale's right, Toast. Because Matt wouldn't be able to vote, and that's the 2 that were on.
No,
that's the-
he's
but
saying for this
Lauren is
logic,
still voting for Jamie on the revote. She has to.
You don't know because this has never
Yes,
been a controller
it-
vote.
no,
you don't
but-
know if the
that-
controller
no,
vote
no, but-
passes
no, but
forward. You don't know.
that-
I'm going
that
to
is-
assume
it
it does because
it
it
makes
has
it-
happened similarly.
Yes. Thank
But
you.
the controller vote has actually never
Because
happened.
because
So you
it's
don't
not-
know the rules.
Because
You
it's
don't
not
know the
her
rules.
extra vote that gets used on the.
No,
on
you
the second
automatically
vote.
have 1 vote. We know that she can use her. In the rules, we know that she can use her second vote on a revote if she used 2 votes on the first vote and then it gets tied. So we know that the second vote is there regardless. which would
Correct. We
still
know
be
that, but we
controlled.
don't know if the controller vote then
We
also
can
gets
assume.
passed.
Okay, let's make that assumption. Let's
yeah.
make that assumption.
Okay, that's assumption number
So
3
now-
in this scenario.
Not really.
Hasn't that
but-
happened before?
I want to go into this revote. That's what I'm trying to do. We can bring it up.
Survivor
I mean,
for Lifer
right.
knows.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Survivor for Lifer is agreeing with Kale here. This revote doesn't check out. Let's go from the beginning, okay? From the beginning,
Go ahead.
one of Lauren's votes is put on Jamie in this
Correct.
hypothetical.
yes.
Correct.
Then Matt and Jam
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 Jam.
both vote for Jamie as well.
Assumption
Jamie
number
gets
1.
3 votes.
No, but
I
we're
think that's
assu- we're assu-
reasonable.
Yeah, it's a reasonable assumption.
But we're
Um,
talking about this revote, so let's talk about the revote. Then, okay, Brandon, Jamie, and Lauren's second vote go on Matt.
Matt.
We're just
No, let's say
saying
Matt. Let's just say
Yeah,
Matt
yeah,
because that's who.
correct.
Let's say Matt. So then it ties, and we go to a revote.
Correct.
Matt and Jamie can't vote.
Yes.
Brandon continues to vote for Matt.
Yep.
Jam Jam.
Continues
Let's-
to vote. Wait, continues
No.
to vote. Yes.
let's
He
say
won't.
he's-
He won't. He won't. He won't because he'll just say we're not going to rocks. I'll just flip my vote to Matt. That's
But why
what will
wouldn't he
happen.
let it go to rocks? Oh
What are
yeah,
you
yeah.
talking
He doesn't
about?
want to
Yeah.
go to right. You're right. That was stupid.
Well.
Yeah, you're
no,
right.
I mean,
Jam Jam's flipping. Jam Jam's flipping on the revote.
Exactly.
You're saying
Or
he's
Matt
flipping
would
on the
too.
second.
That was
Because
Simi's
they're
point
not-
before. I won't even lay
Yeah.
claim to that. That was Simi's point before.
Yeah,
If you're Matt or
he's
Jam
flipping.
Jam, once you find out it's not you, you flip,
revote-
and that's
the
and then
revote doesn't
boom,
work.
and then it's dead.
Because you're not going to let it go to rocks.
Okay.
Toast.
That makes sense.
You're right.
I'm there.
you're right.
I'm there for
Then the
that.
revote-
That's
so
fair.
there was no saving.
All right.
no
But
matter
but
what.
your
There was
other
no
counterpoint,
saving.
even not, I wouldn't even
Survivor
like
for
claim that I'm
Lifer
right here.
knows what he's talking about. Knows
Yeah,
what
we
they're talking
we
about.
thank you
I
for
don't know
the
about
comment.
Kale,
That
but
helped us get to a conclusion there.
okay, fine.
You're right. Look, there's
I'll
there's
give
no
it up.
saving them. You're right. So at that point, you might as well. But I don't know that I'm gonna think. It took us 10 minutes to figure that out. I don't know if they're gonna figure that out in the live
You're right.
tribal. I
You're
don't know.
All right, so there was no hope. There was no
There
hope.
was no hope. There was no hope. I mean, this was a tough. I honestly though I was. Look, if I'm in this majority though, I'm voting for Matt. I think Matt
Yeah.
comes off as a steadier, more strategic player.
doubt.
Whereas Jam Jam comes
No.
off as that more social,
Mhm.
happy-go-lucky
You're
player.
you're breaking up Franny
You
and
gotta
Matt.
vote. You're
Lauren,
breaking
I
up
guess
Franny and Matt,
Lauren was the
and
big steady one.
Yeah,
I think
Matt's
it's
a little
you're
bit more conniving, I think.
you're also
So.
drawing a line in the sand. Like you're like, okay, it's Ratu versus Soka. Like this is the first shot.
Yeah, you are now creating some lines that weren't necessarily there before.
Well,
Franny's gonna be, Franny's gonna be pissed.
well, which you might, yeah, it depends because there's a lot of different dynamics. I think the Carson crossover
Yeah.
invites Tika, but I really do think Jam Jam and Carolyn. I do think that Carolyn was going to be have an allegiance towards Carson. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. It seems like she's now
It
real
seems
lined
like
up
the
tight with
three of
Jam
them
Jam.
are still kind of tight though. They had that conversation.
No, they
during
are.
this
They are.
episode.
They are. But Carson drew a line in the sand last week that he said he's going to work with Kane, and that would invite him
Yeah.
working with.
They had another conversation
that
this
would be
week
a bad
too, where they
decision.
like checked in with one another. So
What'd you
I
say?
mean, they had another
Kane and
conversation
Carson?
on the beach where they the three of them.
Oh
right?
yeah, Jam Jam, Carolyn, and Carson.
And they kind of like checked in. Like
No, but
so
my
that's a
my
good sign, I
point is
think.
that what you're
Um,
talking about is the lines drawn in the sand between Ratu and Soka. Then the way that all works out is how does Tika work into it? I think Carson has
Yeah.
a greater ties to
a
Ratu
pull,
than
a
to
lot of
Soka.
pull.
I think Carson though. Look. It seems like Carson's been playing this middle game strategy, and I think he's going to try to keep continuing that as long as he can. So I think he's going to try to continue to play both sides, especially with it if it becomes more and more, polarized with this new Matt vote off. Like if it really is that, tribe versus tribe, I think
Yeah,
Carson's
but
just
he's
gonna
going to
continue
have
to
to
play
pick
the
a side.
middle.
I'm saying he's going to have to
Eventually,
pick
yeah, certainly.
Well, not eventually. Yes, if it's Soka versus Ratu at the next vote.
Oh
he's
yeah,
not just
well, who
gonna
knows
vote.
what happens next week?
Yeah.
Though it looks like Carson's stuck thrown up in a bush all episode.
No, I mean he's just probably got a little stomach virus.
Yeah.
Are we
But
gonna have third
I think
medevac?
Kale,
no.
no, hopefully not. Kale, I think that this is good for Jam Jam. The outcome
1,000,000%.
of this. I think that
Great episode for
I
Jam.
think that Jam. It was a great
Yeah.
episode for Jam Jam because he is very clever in the way that he talks to people.
I
and
like him.
he-
I really do.
Yeah, he highlights other people's strengths in a way that's very complimentary and very under the radar. And he says we should vote together. Is like this is the smartest thing I've come up with. Like he's undermining
yeah.
himself, like saying I haven't come up with anything smarter than this. Like and like still making it like possible that they could work together and like he could just backstab him afterwards, which is regardless what would have happened apparently. But I think he also looked really good. He maintained his composure, and I don't think his name is going to come up a
No.
lot more now.
No,
I really,
his threat level's
I
been
think
lowered
there's
so
too
much.
much going
He's
on.
been at the bottom
No,
of
Yeah.
so many
he
votes
can
that-
ride. He can ride like a Kelly Wentworth, where he navigates these couple early votes,
Yes.
and then he goes
Yes.
under the radar and he
Yeah.
becomes a threat. I mean, listen, Kelly Wentworth also did other things, so he's gonna have to maybe do some things here.
Yeah.
But if we're really saying Carolyn has some power with this idol, maybe Jam Jam is the one utilizing that power with her. Who knows? But
I think though, Kale, I have a similar worry with Jam Jam that I think you do with Carolyn, where I don't know. I'm a little worried about Jam Jam trying to lead a vote.
no, I think he can. From what Toast just talked about, I think he could. They thought he led the tribe over at Tika the entire time. Yeah.
I know, but I
he
think
kind of was. leading
yeah,
the
I
show.
guess so. But I don't know. I just don't.
He's already
at
led
least-
votes.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I worry about it with how his reputation.
You don't think
has-
that? You don't think you don't give
changed.
him credit
yeah,
for it
that's fair.
leaning heavily
that's
into
fair.
Matt tonight? You don't give him any credit?
Look, I give him some credit, but that's not a vote lead. That's a
No, I don't
Hey,
say it's a
somebody
vote
else has
lead,
bigger
but it's
threat than I do.
he instilled a good thought process with Lauren.
It's persuasion.
No, yeah,
it's
no,
persuasion.
I thought that was good. Certainly.
He showed good powers of
That
persuasion.
and that's my differentiator. I don't think Carolyn has an ounce of any when she's ever going to be able to persuade anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
I
see.
disagree with that,
We'll
but
see.
that,
It's the same. It's the same answer every episode, Kale. We'll see.
I understand that, but you
For
might
some
ride that to the
reason-
finale.
for
And
some
I
reason,
again, I don't want
might.
this to be a Carolyn beat up fest, but I'm just saying, I don't see it.
you say that, but every episode you're beating up on Carolyn.
No, because you brought it up. You said Jam Jam versus Carolyn. I got to stand up for Jam Jam. That's my guy.
Meanwhile, they're like close allies. So like, they're.
That's what I'm saying. So that I working it in that might be the duo. That might be.
It
the
might be
difference.
interesting too, especially if they're a close ally and they can make it to the end together. Just whoever has better relationship with people, which right now seems like it's going to be Jam Jam.
Sure. I mean, the three of them, Carson, Jam Jam, and Carolyn, might be occupying the middle for the next foreseeable,
Yeah, how many
couple of
people
votes
we
if
have
it's going
left
to
now?
be
10?
a war.
10 people left.
10.
It's
Now it's
10 people
10.
left.
It's 4-3-3.
It is
Three. Okay, wait. Let's do it really
the
quick.
3 is
No,
is
5-2-3. There's 2 Soka left now. That was 2 Soka in a row, right?
No, well, the Soka are Danny, Heidi.
Oh, Heidi's Soka. I'm sorry.
Franny.
So it's 4-3. It's 4-3-3.
Can we go through it? Just
Yeah, the other ones
really
are
quick?
Jamie, Brandon, Lauren, and Kane, and then the 3 Tika.
Yeah, but Kane's not with them. Like Brandon does not like Kane.
That's 4. So
Well,
it's 4.
no, I'm not saying
3.
where the alliance is. I'm just saying where the tribals are.
It
Right.
seems like to me where the alliances are going to land. This is my prediction here for the alliances. Is it's going to be a Carson, Kane, Carolyn, Jam Jam, and then 3-3. The Brandon, Jamie, Lauren, Heidi, Franny, Danny. That's what it feels like to me right now.
So you're gonna say you're basically saying that the middle is gonna
Become a
actually
majority.
be more than either of the two sides.
Well, here's the thing
yeah,
too.
but no, they're not a majority. They're a
I don't think
plurality,
Heidi
not a
did
majority.
herself. I don't
Because
think
the 6
Heidi
of the
did
others
herself.
can
Sure,
stand
sure,
up against
yes,
the
yes.
4.
I don't think Heidi and in conjunction Danny, because I think again they're gonna work. I guess they'll add Franny to this alliance now. I don't know how it will unfold, but I don't think Heidi did herself any favors than targeting Jam Jam to be unsuccessful.
That being unsuccessful is
Yeah.
really bad. She really needed to be correct about that. Control the vote.
Well, now yeah, because
I
like
think it's really bad for her.
Jam Jam's just not gonna have any faith in her.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
And also the other
You made
the other 3
enemies
aren't
of 2
happy.
people, one of whom is still here. Like one of the people that you made an enemy of is here. Or actually, you just really made an enemy of 2 people that are here.
Yep.
Yeah, Lauren by taking her vote and forcing her hand, and then voting for
Yeah.
someone who ended up staying
Yeah.
in the game, and the person that you wanted to save went home. It's like a total.
I
Yeah, it
also
was
don't
loss.
think
bad.
I don't
It's a
think they
lo-
become
It's a
I also
lose,
don't
lose,
think they
lose.
become enemies, but I don't think Brandon, Jamie, and Lauren are happy about that either.
Yeah, so yeah.
No,
that-
they're not.
So
They're
now
not.
you've got 3 people, 2
They're
people
not.
who are active enemies, and 3 people who just aren't super hyped about you right now.
I'll make a prediction. I think Heidi
bad.
could go home next episode because of this.
I don't know. It also is weird that she did the control your vote on Lauren, because Lauren, I feel like Lauren and Heidi were pretty close in previous episodes, but maybe that was me
I
getting
thought
into it.
Heidi's
I think-
alliances were with Danny.
part of it is also there was ambiguity to whether or not she could steal 2 votes or steal 1 vote. Like, if-
yeah.
It's
You got to
it's
take the
like
risk in
if
case you can,
the reason,
I guess.
because if you or you limit her to
It's just
using
dumb.
1 vote, like
The
if
fact
it's
that
like,
there's ambiguity. You think there was ambiguity for
Yeah, it's-
Heidi too?
correct,
That's stupid.
Yeah,
They,
She didn't
well,
know.
that's what I'm saying. That's dumb.
Like it could have been like, okay, you control their vote, like you control where they put their
The
energy,
producers
right?
have to explain these
Versus-
things when they
Force
get
feed.
the idols, the advantages, right?
I mean, it does
They have
talk
to
to a
be
lot of the
explaining it to 'em.
convoluted nature of what's going on.
But it also it could have been the case in more ways than one. I think that the way that it actually was the least advantageous for Heidi, where she could then use another vote and put it somewhere else. Because if anything, let's say it doesn't take both of her votes that she was planning on using, it'll at least stop her from using the second one if she knows that the second one is going to be put to the same like cause that's not in her favor. Does that make sense? Like Lauren might have been like, okay, instead of using the second one now, I'm limited to the first one. And then we now have a situation where like actually moving her vote in a different direction towards Ratu would make sense for Heidi
Yeah.
and company.
I think
But no,
Heidi at the end of the day,
Does
I
that
think
make
Heidi
sense
at
or
the end
no?
of the day got convinced by Franny because it looked like she was, empowered to control this in her way that she saw best for her, right? At one point I thought she had a bit of a power trip with it, to be honest. Like Franny's like, what the fuck?
She did.
Um,
She did have a power
but
trip.
then it looks like she went the way of Franny, but now it just seems to have
Of course.
kind of been a bit of a mess. So
Can I ask a potentially dumb question here?
go
Is
ahead.
there
Go
a
ahead.
chance,
Go for
if
it.
if I'm Heidi, is there a chance that I can use my control to vote on somebody other than Lauren in such a way that Lauren doesn't end up using her second vote?
No, because well, the only reason why it might signal is because you have to say who.
Yeah,
that
which
vote
was
I
is
know, I
dumb.
don't
Which was
like-
dumb too. By
I
the
don't
way,
like that. I don't like that.
I hated
Agreed.
that it was out loud.
Yeah, I don't like that it was out
Yeah,
loud.
that
I
could
almost
be
wish that she
tweaked.
got to just walk up and
Yeah.
write her own vote on the
Yes.
thing. But like, I guess what I'm asking is like, if Heidi, is there a chance that if Heidi stood up and said, Jamie, you're voting for Brandon, is there a chance in that scenario that Lauren doesn't use her second vote and says, I'm gonna hold
Why
on to
would
this?
Jamie didn't. Lauren didn't use her second vote.
She didn't.
Oh yeah, I guess she didn't.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
though. Like what I meant to say before was that like if it was the case that the control your vote advantage, if used on somebody who has 2 votes as an option, took both of their votes, right? Then that person would be incentivized to not use their second vote because both of the votes would be taken away, not in their favor, assuming that you're playing it against somebody that you're against in the
Yeah.
game, which is the case that happened, right? In this case, there's no way to get around it because you're actually just saying out loud who the vote is
Yeah.
going towards. Like Heidi doesn't really have that much
Yeah,
maneuverability.
I mean, look, I said it out loud.
It was
Even
kinda
before,
doomed. It
even
was kinda
before I
doomed
knew
from
what
the
the
beginning.
advantage was, I said out loud, I don't want this advantage if I'm in this game. I don't want it.
Well,
Because
yeah. I mean, it was
it's another
doomed,
one
it
of
was-
these public advantages that like I just don't want the heat.
And it was also guaranteed. I mean, Kale, you talked about organic gameplay by the cast. Like, I agree, but like this was probably one of the most contrived, like advantage gains. Like, it was basically there's a bunch of keys, and you're automatically someone is gonna
Oh,
get
this thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you have to use it tonight. The only night that it has ever been
Yeah.
possible to
No.
do this.
No.
You know?
I'm
Good for
with
one
that.
tribal.
I'm talking about when you split up tribes, and we've seen it in the past. It's like people can get screwed, and Matt can claim that he got screwed by this, right? But it's random, right?
yes.
It's all picked through rocks, so it's completely
Mhm.
Yeah.
random. That one, and two, when the votes
Mhm.
do come out and they happen, it's not like other than yes, this piece of the puzzle is not organic. They all came to the conclusion that it was 4 versus 1. Everybody versus Matt on that in that tribe. It's just unfortunate that it was 3 Ratu and then 2 singular players. So
Yeah.
it's crappy that way. And there
I
was
mean,
no
it
idol.
used to
And there was
happen-
no idol. That could have been fun.
No idol.
Mm.
It used to happen when there were swaps, right? But in the case of swaps, where you would then go to a different tribe, some people get swap screwed. Like Sandra in Game Changers, she was having a great game, got put on a minority tribe, got taken out. But in that case, she still had her bag with
Yeah.
her at least. Like
Jesus.
if Matty got swap screwed, he would at least have his bag and he could play a shot in the dark. That gives
Yeah,
you more of a chance than he
that's a
had,
screw
so-
up that we talked about. Now, listen, I think we've talked a lot about the vote itself. I do want to talk. I do want to talk about this early segment surrounding Danny.
Mm.
We knew the birdcage was probably going to come to light just because everybody would share information. You share
Mhm.
information in the game that won't affect you because for Brandon's sake, he already used his idol. So he shared information to hopefully in return get bigger and better information, right? Maybe he could have done that singularly and not in a whole group of 3 or 4 people, whatever that was right there.
Yeah.
But either way, we knew that buzz was going to get spread around.
He kind of cleaned up his tracks by then voting Matt out, though. I guess
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it was already brought to
you know what I
light
mean?
that
Everybody
at least
knows,
that
yeah.
crew knew that Danny has
they
the
know.
idol.
Yeah, they
right?
know.
Honestly, I was pretty
they
impressed
know.
by Matt putting that together because I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it was more obvious in person
Yes.
having learned that information.
Yeah.
But I was pretty impressed. I was like, oh damn, I didn't think he would put it together that like, oh, Danny really set me up for this one.
Well, he knew there wasn't a
Yeah, that
second
was good.
idol in there, so he's like, this can't be right. He knew
I
that.
think he knew that his was fake, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, even just from Danny saying like, oh, make sure to put your hand in all these things, that like that was enough for him to figure it out. I thought
I mean, he
impressive,
probably
but
wasn't 100% on it, but he was pretty damn close.
yeah,
you know
who
what I'm
else is
saying?
it gonna be? It's the
Yeah,
only person who was
exactly.
pushing for it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
to me now, talk to me. So this kind of now brings up the Beware advantage issues that we've had. Are we just sitting in the same spot pretty much right now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd
it's
say
a,
so, because
Other
it's
than
an advantage that is
Carolyn that
destined
no one will
to.
ever know.
Carolyn, no one knows.
I mean,
for some
what are people
reason.
supposed to think that one got voted out with somebody random?
Or they're like, wait, you guys didn't have red X's
Yeah,
in the middle
yeah.
of the camp? Like,
Well, no,
I don't
no
know.
one ever got the fake idol from that one, right?
Some
No,
somebody
that
did.
was the
Oh,
the
that was
X-Plant
what's her
thing.
face got it.
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Sarah.
that's
Just
gone.
got
So
voted out
that's
with it
gone.
in
So that's
pocket.
Carolyn got lucky in that sense. But
Yeah, you're right,
who has idols right now? Carolyn and Danny, and that's it.
Carolyn,
Carolyn
Danny.
and Danny. Yep. Because Matthew
And-
found an
and went
idol,
home
a
with it.
different idol,
Yeah.
and went home with it. A bunch of idols have expired, and then Jamie has a fake
Jamie's
idol.
You got to think one's out on the island then, no?
probably. There's probably another idol out in the island that somebody's gonna find.
It's
But-
just I just hate the scenario now that Danny is a target and he's unknowingly now too because everybody else pieced it together. It sucks.
Yeah, but Lauren seems to have the advantage here because when Danny fell off the balance beam, she like clapped at that. It specifically showed Lauren
Being like,
clapping. So
"Oh,
it seems like
Danny's
Lauren
not safe."
was privy to the fact that
Well-
Danny was
well,
going
it was-
after her. It doesn't
Well, it was
really
also
seem like...
one more person on
Or that
team
she thought
falling.
that
I know, but it was weird that they did Danny. They just did it when
it,
Danny
it could
did
also
and I
be
was
just
like,
like
oh, maybe she
alluding back to the
knows.
idea earlier in the episode that people were like trying to get him out because they didn't want him to be safe. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, but they were trying to get Lauren out, right? So,
Yeah.
but now Lauren knows that that Danny was trying to get her out, but Danny doesn't know that Lauren knows that.
Not yet. Yeah,
You
no.
know?
Jam
Not
was the
yet.
one that
Not yet.
told her that info.
I think it'll be
No,
interesting.
I think Danny and Heidi are in a fuck ton of trouble.
Well, I think that gets us to. I know we're getting towards the end of our time here, so let's do our stock report from this episode because I think we have a lot of movement this episode for a lot of different players. Kale, I'll
Yeah.
throw it to you first because you were just talking about it. But what's your stock report for the players this week?
Well, yeah, I'll just mention my reasoning, but I think Danny, because his secret idol is now no longer secret to the majority of people because it's
Yeah.
the word spread, is now in trouble. Heidi got thrust into this position that I don't think ended up benefiting her in any way, and if anything, made some enemies.
No, yeah.
Agreed.
And if they're aligned together, and yeah, maybe they'll add Franny into the fold now because Ratu picked off her lover. It just seems to me that Soka is the one that's in trouble. So I'm gonna say Soka stock down. I'm selling the whole company.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm selling
the
the whole company.
whole index fund of those three.
Yeah, exactly.
They're selling it.
Exactly. And listen, I'm still gonna take a stock up from Jam Jam. I like Toast's point earlier. I think Jam Jam and in this game of Survivor, there's phases sometimes where your name gets brought up time and time and time again. It's been a couple episodes in a row. But if you're able to navigate that stretch organically, I've used that word all night, the movement's going to fluctuate away from you because you can't just be the target every single
Because
round.
everyone's like, oh, they've been on the bottom for so long.
Well,
they
yeah, and
can't
it
be a
just
threat.
doesn't. At a certain point, different lines get drawn. It's someone else tries to make a move in a different direction. So again, Jam Jam, I think, has navigated that stretch. So now he can kind of slide, and hopefully he can make some moves. And so to me, it's an upwards trend for Jam Jam, and that was my winner pick from a couple weeks ago, and I'm gonna ride with that.
Wow. All right, Toast. What about you? What's your stock report this week?
I think Kale said it really well with with Soka, I mean, selling. And the reason is like there was the whole morale, right? The whole moral of the story with power versus safety, right? Which one is better in this moment? Everything was really counterintuitive. Power was much more important in this episode than safety was, right? So in the sense that had Franny been able to sell the fact that she threw a challenge and then saved herself, but then also saved Maddie, then all of Soka would have gone to tribal and voted out someone that's not in Ahsoka, and they would have gotten the numbers, they would have gotten the power. The opposite is true for Ratu. They didn't have any power in the beginning because they had to go to tribal, but they really decided the fate what's going forward, right? They have more players now than Ahsoka because they were able to eliminate one of Ahsoka's people easily.
It's a great dissection. It's a great dissection. Like
Thank you.
1,000,000% because
Huh.
no, because it broke down this power couple,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
There was already lines being drawn because Danny was making moves that Ratu ended up finding out information about Soka and their intertwinings and this and that.
Yeah.
Heidi made a bad move. That's luck that happened that way
Yeah.
in terms of the
Yeah.
controller vote. But because Ratu was thrust into that majority position and took out a member of a different alliance,
Yeah.
it's so very true. And
It would have gone
it
the
was a
opposite
very
way.
bad episode.
Yeah.
A very
Oh.
bad episode for Soka.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
back then.
all around, you're right. Everyone at Soka lost, and I think one more thing I'll throw in is like, and Kale, just because you were very nice to me there, I'll also concede a little bit here. I said the other day or the last time I think that like Carolyn looks like she might be made for these balance challenges, and she was the first one out.
That
resonated in my
She was the first one out, so maybe
Yeah, it's
she's
tough.
a little lower for me
Uh,
than she was last week.
And then Toast, I'm gonna ask what your winner pick is right now, just because
Oh,
Kale gave us
dude.
his in Jam Jam.
I don't know. I mean, I've been riding Danny for a while. This wasn't great for him. He didn't really seem very active in this. He seemed like he was receiving rather than giving this episode.
Can I say one point before you flesh that out?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you would latch on to this character, because we kind of said that they didn't really have a great episode last week, and we thought that it was
Jamie?
being built. No. You definitely. I would never. Could never vouch for that being the case. Kane's Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
with the keys. Was that just to exemplify what they were doing in that
There
time
was
period?
a lot of.
I thought for sure he
I
was
thought he
going to
was gonna
find it
get the
because he
key.
was
I thought for
narrating.
sure he
he
was
was
gonna
gonna
get
get
it
the
because he was
key.
narrating the whole.
I
thing.
was
Exactly.
shocked.
I was positive he was
Shocked.
gonna get the key.
Honestly,
give me
I-
your
I
meta.
said it
Give
out
me your.
loud. I was like,
Give me your meta. Is that something
I don't-
long term for him or no?
I don't know. Was it just a decoy for us in that moment? I think Carolyn got a confessional in this episode for no reason. I don't think her confessional
True.
mattered at all, but she still was getting airtime. They were showing her a lot on the sidelines. I don't know. I want to say Carolyn. I just like I'm not
Carolyn's
there
still
yet.
your winner pick.
She has not been my winner pick, but
Is she the
Danny
top
has
winner?
been
He's
my
been
winner pick,
reluctant
but-
to put his chips all the way all in. He does that.
I
Alright,
don't
I'm
know.
gonna
I'll-
push
I'll-
you to it though. Who is it?
God, I don't know.
going on the record.
I think one of Tika wins. I'm with Kale. I think one person.
No,
wins.
no, I
No,
did
you don't
that. I
do
did that a
that.
few
No,
weeks
no,
ago.
no, no,
I said
no,
I'm with.
no,
I
no,
said
no.
I'm with
I-
Kale.
You got
I
to
I
said-
think Tika wins.
I
I
said,
didn't force you to say a name.
All right, I'll go with Carson right now,
Okay. All right.
which really means Carolyn, but I'm saying Carson.
I agree with everything you guys have said. I think for Ahsoka, this is a really bad episode. It's hurt Heidi, hurt Danny. I mean, Kale, you kind of flipped though. I mean,
Yeah,
in the
'cause
beginning you
it
said this
hurts
was good
Franny.
for Franny, and now it's bad for Franny. But I think it's not. I think there are pros and cons.
I think
but
it's good for
not
Franny
great.
individually, but I'm sorry. That premise is in alignment with what I saw in the preview that Franny's now going to work with Danny.
I see what you're saying. I see. What you're
That's
saying. But
not
we know how
that's not her
misleading
best move.
those previews can be. I think that yeah, I agree with everything you guys say. I think that's been down. I think it's up. I think it's a rise for Jam Jam. I agree with that. I think he's been at the bottom long enough that I think people are gonna have to start focusing on other players. I think that this is another stock up for Carson for another week for me because I think we've set up a scenario where somebody playing that middle game can really thrive with these divided lines,
Yeah.
at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's another stock up for him. I don't know who do you guys remember who my winner pick was last week?
Danny.
Was it still
I
Danny?
think I thought you were in the Danny Carson.
I was in the Danny I've been flip-flopping Danny Carson a little bit in my head between these two things. I am gonna for now say Carson because I like this middle strategy, but I
Yeah.
do think that Danny can weather this.
Just
I
for
don't think that.
clarification for everybody else, when you say Carson, do you mean Carolyn or are you saying
No, I
Carson?
mean Carson. I actually mean Carson on
You're
this.
getting
Okay.
a 2-for-1, which is
I
such
understand.
bullshit.
No, he's not getting a 2-for-1. We're holding him
Yes,
to
he
Carson.
is.
But I think that Danny can weather this. I know that this is a stock down week for Danny, but I really do think that he can play through this. You got something to say, Kale?
Yeah, I got 2 points briefly.
Okay.
Shout out Survivor for Life for commenting. We love comments. Anybody that's
Yeah.
watching the stream, throw chats in here. We literally love the feedback, and we want to bounce whatever you guys have to say. You know,
Yeah.
we want to discuss it.
We'll drop whatever
One.
we're doing. What we're doing is not as important.
I agree.
Yes,
I
no
agree.
doubt.
The
We'd
interaction
rather
is what
answer
we're
the
here
question.
for. Last, I don't really think that it's my last. It's my one more stock up. I do think we have to give some credit to Brandon. I said this last week
I guess, yeah.
or 2 weeks ago. I forget what it was. He's commanding something. You know, he's
I-
doing something.
I don't know why I'm so reluctant to like give him credit for stuff. I
Yeah,
don't know what it
agree.
is. It feels like because it feels like to me when I'm watching that he's not making that good of relationships, but people do go up to him a lot.
Yeah.
I
On
get
the
the
beach.
sentiment.
And
I
people
get the
talk to him
sentiment
a
you're
lot.
saying. I
Yeah.
get the sentiment you're saying.
So
think
I don't
that-
know. It feels weird to me. I feel like I can't make a like call on it. I don't know. It
if he
feels
does
weird.
if he does go far in this game, I think that we would have to remember the conversation that he had with Matt on the beach in this episode about back and
Yeah.
forth or at camp
Yeah.
about a survivor can get out of any scenario, right? And then
I mean
Matt,
that's
Matt
a
is-
winner quote.
yeah, it's a winner quote, but it's also Matt is now taking the opposite side of that and then immediately goes home. So it's like, oh, like
Yeah.
one of them
Yeah.
is right, one of them is wrong. We already know who's wrong,
I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what Brandon can do. I'm excited to see what all these other players can do. Thank you, boys, for chatting with me and all of this beautiful audience that we have again this week. Like I said, if you guys have been watching, please like, subscribe, hop in those comments. We want to hear from you guys. We're always happy to discuss our points if you think we're idiots and want to refute us.
We're definitely idiots, but we love it.
But other than that, boys, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'll see you next week.